many times at the beginning, excuse me, of our meetings, I've been kind of guiding us through this innermost, most essential in us, so to speak. Guiding the way to our home that we actually never left. I feel now, after we've been coming together for quite a few times, some of us almost for a year and longer in a personal setting, the pathway for most of us is very well established to this inner sacred chamber of our own self, the heart of awareness. It's one of the great paradoxes that we are there and there is no path to go to get there, and still somehow through understanding, through self-inquiry, through grace, the way back to ourselves, so to speak, comes easier and easier, more and more effortless. We just get quiet for a little while, and here we are. I mean, not on the screen, obviously, here we are also, but we feel, we know, we have this. All language fails, of course, here, because it can never be verbally expressed. But we have this felt sense, this knowing of being together as one, in and as this very heart of awareness. And we didn't need to do anything to earn or achieve our way home. We just meet where we never left. And meeting in this way brings about this wonderful feeling of communion, of friendship, of love, we could say. when we start walking this pathless path, we might have to really inquire. We are still here in Ramana lands. Who am I? Who or what is aware of my experience? Am I aware? What is it that is essential to me? And what is coming and going in my experience? In inquiring in that way, we walk the path from our objective experience, perceptions, feelings, sensations, thoughts, images, images of me and you, through self-inquiry, we walk ourselves back to that which is essential, to that which is aware of all of those experiences. That which never changes, while being aware of all the changing phenomena on the screen of awareness. So as we are celebrating Diwali, the victory of light over darkness, the festival of lights, we may look at this awareness or consciousness or silence. We used and use many words for the ineffable, unnameable. And one very good word is light. So we may look a bit into what that light is and what that may mean, this victory of the light. Certainly, we're experiencing a time where quite a bit of darkness is moving through this world. We cannot deny the fact that people are suffering. There are wars raging. poverty, discomfort, and just sometimes unbearable circumstances in many places in the world make it very difficult these days to even have a chance to look on what is beyond this apparent darkness. Many are so in the grip of the darkness or suffering these days. It's very important, I feel, to shed the light on this darkness that is moving through without, and for many people also within. When we look at the question, who am I? And we listen quietly with our whole being, so to speak, and not with the mind. We may discover the answer in a luminous, non-objective, non-phenomenal way, in the form which is not a form of this luminous self-illuminating light of awareness. It is always shining. This light of awareness, like the sun, is always shining. The illusion or confusion, I like to call it, may make us believe that the sun disappears after sunset and it gets dark. But in reality, the sun is not going anywhere. It doesn't stop shining. In the same way, this light that we speak about, what Jesus referred to when he said, I am the light, I am the way, I am the truth. This light of awareness is prior to the light and darkness in this world, in this dream that we're dreaming together. It's prior to the opposites of the manifestation of the creation and it's always free from the opposites in this world. So it's very important when we speak about the victory of light on Diwali that we don't confuse that with trying to replace the darkness or replace the suffering or replace the negativity with the opposite qualities through willpower, through the mind, with positive thinking or happy feelings, happy thoughts, or by imagining light beings. Not that they may not be there, those light beings and angels and goddesses, and that might all well be. But all of that is part of the manifested, of the created dream, like world that we're living in. When we speak about the victory of light, we speak about that which has actually created all of that drama, all of that apparent opposites, apparent suffering. By replacing one side with the other side, we don't win the game, so to speak. We just alternate states of body and mind that bring a temporary relief of pleasure or of good emotion, imagination, but they won't bring lasting results. Lasting results can only come from that which is unchanging, which is always shining, and not that which sometimes shines and sometimes doesn't. That's why in this context of satsang, we also understand the deeper meaning of Diwali, that it's not only the victory of light over darkness, but also the victory of knowledge or wisdom over ignorance or confusion. It is the light of wisdom, the light of understanding, the light of consciousness that brings lasting relief. All mind-made approaches to change the world will always only be like a band-aid that we put on the pain. But earlier or later, the other side of the coin will come back to the surface. Lasting relief will only come if we shine the light of knowledge, of understanding, of awareness on both sides of the coin. The good and the bad, the light and the shadows, desire and fear. All of these apparent opposites. When we try with the mind to alleviate the pain without the deeper understanding, without the jnana, without knowing that we are this light of awareness that enlightens and projects this whole drama into apparent existence. Diwali is taking off, you may hear it. Or we need a bigger perspective than the perspective from the point of view. The point of view of the body and the mind has always a limited perspective. And not seeing the whole picture from the limited perspective, it will be very difficult, if not impossible, to bring intelligent solutions into the troubles that we are facing. on this planet. It's like we would try to live in permanent life on the surface of the earth, trying to overcome the sunsets by having magnificent lights on all the time and thinking we could find lasting happiness in that way. No, we would have to zoom out, so to speak. We would have to lift off from the surface of the earth and become this bigger picture and see like, oh, whoa, wait a minute. There it is, the sun. It's still shining. I don't need an artificial light. It's still here. And discovering this light through satsang, through self-inquiry, through any way, is this zooming out, is this pathway back to the heart of awareness, back prior to all my phenomenal experience. Traditionally called self-realization. Realizing, oh wow, this light of awareness enlightening this whole drama is me. Far out. I am the screen, I am the director, the producer, and all the characters in the movie in the same time. And while I'm identifying with the character, with the limited perspective, the inevitable consequence will be suffering. But if I rediscover, remember that I am the light that creates this whole drama, not only I bring about a huge relief and relaxation to myself, like, whoa, wow. It seemed all so terribly hopeless, maybe, or at least dramatic, this whole human experience. And suddenly I can see, oh, actually, it may be dramatic, but I will see the beauty and the joy and the love in it. And I will see that both sides, the light and the shadows in the manifested world, in the dream, are both needed for a good drama. But the light that is untouched, unaffected by that, by knowingly remembering, rediscovering myself to be the light. We start, instead of putting the band-aid on top of the pain in us and in the world, we start shining back that light knowingly. From the rediscovery, we start to shine it back on the created world, on us, on our body, on our mind, and on the world. The big recognition that comes maybe with a huge relief, the understanding of what I am essentially being always unchanging and free, when I shine that understanding back on my experience, on the phenomenal experience, change, healing, transformation in the body, in the mind, and in the world around me comes naturally through this light of consciousness, through this light of knowledge shining back on its own creation, so to speak. And this is the victory in the game, not replacing the shadows by the opposite light, but by the light of understanding, by the light of jnana, of wisdom. Bringing victory in the form of, like, telling to the illusion, to the confusion in my mind, in my body, in the world, look, it all looks so dramatic. And yes, It's painful. But deep down, look, you are free. You are free from this play of light and shadows. And now use this freedom. Go out and it's like awareness telling to itself, celebrating. It's like, yeah, this is the victory. You got it. You know that you are this shining, self-luminous, never-ending, eternal and infinite light of awareness, and nothing ever can harm you, can destroy you, can kill you. So now that you know, go and shine the light on that which apparently still has forgotten. That's the game. And then, with this clear seeing, clear understanding, we go out and we touch the world. We touch our body, we touch our mind, we touch the pain in us and around us, and without really doing anything. Or we may practically also do. That may be what comes out of that wisdom, out of that intelligence. But it's not essential. Just the light of awareness shining back on that which is apparently separate brings naturally, effortlessly this healing, this relief, this lasting relief of the pain within and without. And it will bring even courage to fight the fights in the game. Like Arjuna in the Bhagavad Gita, taught by Krishna, stand up and fight. An impossible situation Arjuna is faced with, to fight his own family. Every mind will, and he did try to capitulate. No, I can't. This is an impossible task you are asking me from God. Until throughout the Gita understanding dawns and he sees through this play, this game, this lila, and eventually with this deep understanding finds the courage and goes out and fights. Like going out and meeting for a tennis game. If we really see through this whole drama, all these apparent very serious fights that we're seeing out there that are so dramatically important, and for those who cannot see through, of course, very, very painful. We're not denying that. We spoke about it many times now. Compassion is a natural reaction from the open heart of awareness. But if we just all cry in our pillows, we don't help anyone. we need to have this understanding, this confidence in knowing, as dramatic it may seem at the moment, in reality, we're all just here to play this game of tennis or whatever game we like to play. And whatever game we like to play, that might seem not so fair for some of us, because the game that we're faced with is somehow appearing in our awareness, and we have to deal with what comes to us. In India, we would say karma. And then we say, I want to play tennis, and you give me a game of table soccer. No, I don't want to play that game. And now I'm going to suffer again. No. Part of the game is to accept the game how it is presented to us. Because it's our game, and our own intelligence brings to us exactly what we need, that it reflects back to us in the best way that which is still confused, that which is still having little moments of ignorance or little moments of strong emotion taking over, apparently taking over the light of understanding of what we are. So we will bring about exactly the situations in life to us that release those knots of not free emotion, beliefs, to enlighten them with this understanding, with this light. And as earlier we apply this understanding to all of our experience and stop choosing this part of the experience I create as myself, as intelligence I want, and I love to experience and enlighten that. And that part, no, that was a mistake. This side, 9. It may seem like that, I know. Wasn't really fun here somehow in what we went through here in the last couple of weeks. Somehow the body struggling, and it's like, what you do now? You're gonna fight it, or do we surrender and accept and welcome the situation as it is, shining the light on our experience and on our bodies that were struggling with this nasty flu? Using the intelligence of this light to apply whatever needed to be done. But then to keep resisting the circumstances within and without, which Kirtana knows very well, are not always easy in India, especially for us Westerners. would be so futile and such a waste of energy to fight against that which our own intelligence brought to us. India and Indians are the masters of surrender. It's beautiful to observe how much of this acceptance of this, when circumstances are not perfect, which they rarely are here, there is such a deep welcoming of imperfect situations that we can learn a lot from in the West, where we usually try to control and fix and manipulate and bring in a lot of resistance, which just brings more pain. Of course, we don't become passive. We do what we have to do, but when everything is done, that intelligence is suggesting, then nothing is left to do than being with what is in the understanding, in the light of what we are. And when we are in this full openness to our phenomenal experience, if we really welcome what is here, pleasant or unpleasant, if we don't resist the moment, in the most challenging moments, in the most challenging situations, in the body, in the mind, and in the world, many have experienced in those challenges, suddenly the clouds dissipate, dissolve, and this self-luminous sun crashes through the clouds. And in the most difficult situation, maybe suddenly there is this peace. And often it comes with this self-luminous non-experience of the luminous light. Sometimes in some spectacular fashion. But that is irrelevant. More relevant is that which lasts and which is lasting. And this self-luminous, ever-shining light of awareness, even though it is a non-phenomenal, non-objective experience, nevertheless, we cannot deny it to be experienced. Without a doubt, all of us, we know that we are. And this very knowing that we are is the knowing of what we are. Just the old habits of identifying with the phenomenal experience of what I am aware of may apparently prevent me from being immersed knowingly in this awareness, in its self-luminous beingness. But if we drop, so to speak, this silly habit of identifying with the objects that appear in awareness, and we really commit back to that which is aware, masters like Ramana here looking at me next to the computer, when they speak of this lasting peace, this shanti, that is always there, that never comes and go. Did he mean this phenomenal reflected consciousness experience of presence? No. He meant this self-luminous light, which is always here. I like sometimes to use a picture for what we are. To make that even clearer with the light today. So there is this sun, this light of awareness, shining upon the manifestation, the created world. We know sometimes days when the sun shines and the reflection or the clouds create rays of light, right? The sun and the ray of light, and then what is around that ray of light? How do we see the ray of light? It's light in light. It appears as something separate, as something other than the light, but in reality, the ray of light and the light around from the sun is the same light. And at the end of the ray of light, so to speak, what is there? The projection, the image, the dude and the dudesses. Me, Avatar, Adrian. Every ray of light creates an apparent, separate being, an apparent, separate individual. And the ray of light is the pathway back to the light of awareness. So through self-inquiry, we may trace ourselves back through this ray of light to the sun. Recognize that we are the sun, that we are this light. And then we shine this understanding, this knowing back through the same ray of light on our body-mind and throughout our eyes on the apparent world. And as more of this light of understanding, of this ray of light is allowed back in, so to speak, into the character, into the avatar, as more of this light embodies in the avatar, and as freer the light shines out of that avatar and on the world around. So even though essentially the light has never changed, it's been always, we are always this ray of light from the one light. But the character, the avatar, the image, the projection of that light, if it in its own game has played the role convincingly of being this projection apart from the light, individually real as something apart from that light, from that consciousness, it refuses its own light, so to speak, its own light of consciousness. Like now, when we see on the screen and I'm here, it's like, oh, what's here? Ah, a dude. But in reality, there is a dude and the light. And without the light, there is no dude on the screen. But the dude could believe very well that he's self-existent in its own separate way, overlooking that we wouldn't see and experience never ever anything without this light of awareness, and that there would be not even life in this character, in this avatar, in this world, without this rays of light, no one would be here. And if we drop this silly habit of believing to be a separate entity and stop believing those thoughts that pretend to be coming from a separate entity, from an individual, and feel and enlighten those sensations, those feelings of separation in us, our experience may actually reflect what Ramana spoke about. This constant peace. May even show as an invisible, but nevertheless experienced, even that is not quite the right word. But we don't have words for these things. Nevertheless, this peace can be experienced as this self-luminous, continuous light. And then it doesn't matter what we do or what we don't do, what we say or what we don't say. The light shines. Really. And brings happiness, joy, love, laughter to our lives and to those around us. Despite of very possibly these days challenging circumstances. Because no matter what's going on in this beautiful dream that we're dreaming together, with this embodied, experiential, felt sense understanding of what we are, we celebrate the victory of the light. Like today in India on Diwali. And no matter how loud the firecrackers they're gonna be, this joy, this light that we are is happy and in peace. as light beings in the light, light in the light. Metaphorically and even experientially, it may be our experience of being light in the light, and the form loses its power to appear as something separate from others, from the world. All there is the light of consciousness and phenomena appearing from the light of consciousness in consciousness as consciousness dissolving back into consciousness. Never ever in reality are we actually experiencing anything else than this light of consciousness. No matter how convincing this dude here appears to be something or someone. What a hilarious play. If there are any questions, very welcome now. They might have dissolved already in the light of our shared beingness. We have a question from 11. I just start the focus mode. Are you unmuted? I'm asking you, wait, here we go. Okay.
Hi, Adrian.
Hey.
So my question is the following. Last time you said that during a Vipassana retreat, your addiction stopped, and then the minute you started talking again, it came back, or the thought came back. No?
Right.
And I feel kind of a similar pattern as when I am alone or when I am in context like this. It's very easy or relatively easy to feel a sense of peace and oneness with people and things around me. But there are certain relationships or people that feel other to me and with whom somehow this feeling of oneness is really hard to maintain. And through what you said today, I have some hints, or I feel like the pathway of understanding is closer, but I feel I'm missing some piece. I would like to have some light on that.
So you're feeling them to be other. In other words, you're feeling to be separate from them.
Yes. Yeah. Like it's very hard to understand and to have compassion.
Mm-hmm.
On certain relationships. I feel they bring, I have some clues with the like body body pain from Eckhart Tolle, no? That I feel okay, maybe it's like raising this, the pain body. Maybe with those relationship I have, the pain body is more active somehow, or activated. Yeah.
You understand that what you're looking at when you see them through your eyes and what you're looking at is one and the same consciousness, right? The understanding is quite clear that the container of your experience is universal consciousness, and the two characters appearing, you and the other annoying, when I hear that right, character, is appearing in consciousness, in you. And that in reality, those two apparent people have no reality outside of that which we also feel here in those meetings, this oneness, right? This togetherness, this felt sense that we're sharing one being, no matter how many images appear. The understanding is growing in you, clearly. Nevertheless, unfortunately, this pretty clear understanding seems to get obscured by strong feelings, pain body. Right? Firstly, what is really important in those moments is hopefully, I mean, if you lose yourself in the pain body, in the feeling, then it's not much you can do, right? Then you are on the train of separation and the other one is going in the other direction and it's all a mess. But a moment of spaciousness, of awareness, of presence may come back, maybe not in the pain body interaction with the apparent other, but at least after, where you have a chance to get off the train and sit down on a bench and remember what you have understood previously. And you can, with a certain spaciousness, you can see, this was very convincing, but actually I know it's not true. Still, most likely in the body, you still will feel this emotion that will tell you otherwise. So the one thing is to remember the truth, to remind yourself of what you have understood. Either after you jump off the train of separation of pain body, or you catch it even before. You jump on that train, you're like, oh, there it is, this wave of energy field taking me, wanting to make me feel separate to the other, and then we have, yeah? I can jump off or not even jump on the train, so to speak, and stand in the firm knowledge, firm understanding of what I am. But that is not always available, very much understood, depending on the intensity of the wave of energy, of emotion that comes up. I might find myself on the train. Important is the moment I come off the train to become very clear again that this is just an energy, an emotion, a sensation, especially in my body that I'm aware of, and I am the awareness which is aware of it. And I do the self-inquiry, so to speak, in that moment when it's available to me again. I do the self-inquiry and come back to that which is aware and shine the light on this pain body, which usually will be like a knot in my heart or in my tummy, right? Or like, and it will kind of rage and try to tell me otherwise. And I just come back to this clear seeing and feeling, especially feeling the feeling as sensation. And that's the second part, which is very important, which we hopefully will dive deeper into when we maybe find a bit of a better setting in Thailand, I would like to make like a weekend intensive, where we not only have satsang, but maybe a couple of body contemplations. Because just as you discovered, like everybody else discovers, the one thing is to understand, the other thing is to feel, to actually have that felt sense of not being separate. Because this felt sense of separation is stored in my subtle body. And when I get triggered through a life situation, or especially through other people, then the fire of that emotion, of that sensation is so strong that many of us tend to forget in that moment. So not only the understanding, the jnana is helpful then, but to actually to come about to this deeper felt sense understanding, this experiential understanding of being not separate in my body, it's very helpful to shine the light of awareness also on our bodies, as we have discussed before, so that we don't only know, but also feel the other as myself. Then it's much, much, much easier to apply the understanding in daily life. But we don't need to wait for the weekend retreat. Make sure in our meetings that you're always listening, not only with your mind, with your head, but with your whole body to the satsang. That you're there as a receptive sponge, as a whole, that your subtle body is included and your physical body is included in this satsang, that you're listening with your whole being, that you are aware of this inner, what Eckhart Tolle calls the inner body, this energy field that which is your subtle body, which is your mind, by the way, that none of that is excluded in satsang. And not only in satsang, but also in life. Make sure when you go out into the jungle of the world to never lose touch with this energy field, with this inner body, with this vibrational field of sensation of mind, so to speak. So the light of awareness that you are shines in life, in those life situations, always on those sensations. So they get, so to speak, enlightened, freed in the moment when it happens. Like now, you can feel this inner body, right? This field of energy, this sensational body, I call it sometimes.
Yes, I was muted again. I do, and it's true that most of the time I feel like when it's people that I don't know or that I don't have an old relationship with, it's easier to get the felt sense. But when it's very old relationship with maybe old maybe emotions that are stuck, I understand now through what you just said, that maybe it's a lot about old emotions that are stuck and that get reactivated somehow.
They know how to push your buttons, those old friends.
Yes.
Yes. So with the light of understanding, I hope you can appreciate them for pushing
I am very
those
grateful
buttons.
to some extent, but sometimes the shit cannot always be happy.
Yes. So bring this inner body into all of your interactions, especially in those situations where you feel that they have the power to push your buttons. We'll practice that also in different ways. We will also go into these contemplations when we get into those weekends where we practically actually enhance what's happening here in those meetings anyways, in the silence in the background, where we can enhance that a bit by seeing this body being actually infinite and universal. And know that this felt sense, oneness, understanding is not a feeling, is not a sensation. If you wait for a feeling or a sensation or a thought to confirm to you that you're not separate from them, it's just this band-aid that I spoke about today, right? You don't confuse yourself for that emotion. The feeling of oneness, if we want to call it that way, we're using the same words, even it's something totally different. It's more this knowing, this felt sense knowing is not a feeling, it's not a sensation, right? It's just this non-experience of knowing that I am actually not separate from that people, and that the feeling, the sensations, the pain body sensation is appearing in us.
Yeah.
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 And in that way, independent of your own intelligence bringing to you exactly the most annoying people and situations, in your own wish to be free of those knots, right, will happen for a while, but they lose more and more power over your freedom, over your happiness, even when the pain body may be firing at times. And that's what I call happy shit, right?
Yeah.
You can be happy while the pain body is firing. You know that it's just the pain body. You know it's just a sensation in new consciousness. And both can be then there at the same time. And yes, sometimes you may whip over on that side of pain and you jump on the train. No problem. It happens to the best of us. No worries.
Yeah, I guess it's a little bit of impatience. Like, I catch myself on the train and I'm like, how can you still be on that train after understanding?
And who's impatient?
Yeah.
Are you universal, eternal, infinite consciousness and patient?
Yeah.
See clearly that your awareness you are not on the train.
I'm watching myself being on the train.
The only one who is jumping on the train is the pain body in combination of the ego, and the only one having a problem being on the train is the ego and the pain body, not you.
Yeah.
So be it.
Mm.
As less you resist jumping on the train, as less trains will come by.
Welcome. Mm. Thank you.
Okay. We have Leslie wrote a question. So is it while we love all in consciousness, we do not necessarily need to like the character of the avatar and can choose not to engage with them? So is it while we love all in consciousness, we do not necessarily need to like the character of the avatar and can choose not to engage with them? Yes. We can very much love everyone without liking everyone. Just because we are universal consciousness, we do not stop seeing the nonsense of the world. Not everything is equal in the manifested world, but essentially we are one, and that's what matters. But this essential knowing will exactly allow you in freedom to walk away from stupid people, if I may say that so. In love. You let them be, you don't want to change them. You, namaste, I see God in you as me, und tschüss. So we will celebrate the victory with lots of fireworks and big bangs. Beautiful day, or good night to you. We are apparently traveling tomorrow to Thailand. So I'm not sure if we'll be able to hold the meeting next Sunday. We'll let you know. Kirtana, if you have a chance and would like to come back to join the Signal group, you know, if you've seen it, it's like WhatsApp. We have a little group which we use as our main channel of communication. So it would be great if you could join us there, so you don't miss out, because there we're usually announcing changes to the schedule also. We're not so super professional yet to have an email at hand every week. So it would be nice to see you there in the Signal group as well, if you like. We'll think about the whole communication and all of that at some point. But for now, it's good that we're coming together. And we're the ones who want to find us also find us somehow and make it here. So it's been a great joy seeing you all and being you all. Just a little add-on, because we are saying goodbye to Ramana also. What we are experiencing here in these meetings, and you hopefully also for yourself, this felt sense knowing, this presence. Ramana called it abiding in the self. I sometimes call it resting in being, resting in that light of knowing, even though, as we said last time with Leslie, it's just the reflection of the light at that point mostly, resting in that reflection, abiding in the self, in being. If we want to call it this way, is the practice. It's not a doing, but it's just a being, resting in being, abiding as the self in silent contemplation within myself, naturally will turn into resting as being, abiding as the self. The reflection will come closer and closer, so to speak, that ray of light, until we come to this dissolving of the reflection and the sun becomes eminent, so to speak. So just as we may not see each other for a week or two, I don't know yet, we don't know, we'll see. In this crazy times, and now some have pre-Christmas and God knows what coming up. I forget sometimes all these things. Take your time also for yourself and abide in yourself. Rest in your being. If there is anything really to do to support this self-knowing, it's that. Let consciousness do the work for you. See you soon. Namah Shivaya.